Hi, I'm Robert Estrin here at livingpianos.com with viewer questions and answers for you. The first one we have is from Sonja. Sonja asks, what does reshaped hammers mean? I've seen this in some of the pianos you have on your site, and I'm wondering as to what this means. Well, this is a great question, Sonja. I really appreciate it. You see, pianos, the hammers hit the strings, and through most of the piano, there are 3 strings for each note. So the hammers become grooved. In time, they can even get flattened out. This creates a dull, lifeless tone, and also the compacted felt makes it brittle, so you get brittleness and you lose energy, and it becomes kind of a disaster. The good news is the hammers have a lot of felt on them, and they can be reshaped to the kind of egg shape that gives a maximum impact. Better than that, you get down to the virgin felt, which has a warmer tone. And the hammers could be worked with voicing by needling to soften them or with chemicals to harden them to get a consistent sound throughout all registers. Now, after the hammers have been filed so many times over many years, then you don't have any more felt to work with. You get down to the wood. That's when you have to replace hammers. But you can get quite a number of reshaping out of hammers if it's done with a skilled technician who knows how to reshape them without taking off excessive amounts of felt. All right, great question. Now, we move on to another question. The next question is from Kenneth. Kenneth asks a great question that I'm going to find here for you any minute. He asks, why isn't the pin block made of metal? It does not need to transfer sound, and metal would have to be replaced. Would not have to be replaced. Well, you know, this is another really good question because there actually was a piano that had a metal pin block, and it was made by Mason and Hamlin at the end of the 19th century. They experimented just for a few years. They're sometimes referred to as sidewinders. Why? Well, typically, the pins of a hammer, of a string, go perpendicular like this. So that the pins are like this, and the strings go at a right angle. But the sidewinders, the pins actually would go into a metal, machine metal, and go in the same direction as the string. Now, why is this a problem? Well, the problem is the metal parts, if they ever break, and eventually they can, it's first of all, in this particular example, getting parts is next to impossible, but even if that weren't the case, the metal machine will eventually corrode, and then you can't replace it because that metal is part of the plate. The good news about wood pin blocks is that when you restring the piano, you can use slightly larger pins for integrity of tuning, and eventually you can even replace the wood pin block and have the piano go for hundreds of years because you can replace the pin block, you know, every time or every 2 or 3 times you restring the piano, depending upon what you like to do. Whereas if it's integrated into the plate of the piano, if there are problems with stripped screws and things of that nature, you're done and your piano is a total loss. So that's the reason for the metal for not being used in pin blocks. Wood is time-tested, it works. So that's 2 great questions today. I'm Robert Estrin here at livingpianos.com. Keep them coming in. Thanks for joining me.